My dear friends, another important topic that we need to discuss under the introduction of philosophy is the origins of philosophy. How did the philosophy origin? That is one of the important questions that we are going to deal in this class. The term philosophy was used in ancient Greece for the first time. The term during that time was used in a broad sense. Philosophical topics like logic, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, social and political philosophy, aesthetics were not only the path of the department of philosophy, but the other subjects like biology, physics were also the path of this philosophical debate. So, the department of philosophy had very broad areas of concerns and it involved everything. Today we have got special subjects for philosophy and other subjects are not considered as philosophical subjects. For example, biology, physics and other sciences. But earlier all those things were considered as philosophical subjects. The main reason for the development of philosophy in ancient Greece is nothing but the rational enquiry which began in ancient Greece. So, the rational enquiry was one of the important reasons why this philosophy began. The earliest philosophers were found around the Mediterranean Sea in ancient Greece. So, we have got first philosophers who are coming from Greece, and also the first philosophy was developed in Greece itself. That is why the philosophy itself is called Greek philosophy. At times the Western philosophy is identified with Greek philosophy. This is because the earliest philosophy and the earliest philosophers are coming from ancient Greece. That is why this philosophy is called Greek philosophy. Why did people develop philosophy? So, that is another question that we need to remember. There are many reasons, some of them may be the following. First of all, philosophers like to argue about everything and especially about the politics. These Greek philosophers wanted to argue about the politics and also about many other things. So, it is said that Greek philosophers are known for their arguments, known for arguing, and they argued about the law, they argued about the justice, they argued about the government and the functioning of the government. So, these things were very much seen in Greek philosophers. While arguing, they used the skills like logic, reason in their argument. So, that is why their argument became very sound and very profound, because they used the logic and also the reason, which is very important for the philosophical argument or for debate or also for reasoning something. In the beginning they started to question about the government, question about the law, question about the justice and so many other things. Later they also started to ask about the questions about the nature. How this nature came about? What is the force behind this nature? Which are the things working in the nature? So, all these things they started to question, then automatically they got some answers. So, that is how the philosophy began. Since they used the skills called logic and reason, later later their argument became more scientific. Later their argument became more scientific, and that's why they also say it also gave rise to the scientific thinking about a particular reality. It is not a argument based on the emotions, rather these arguments are based on logic and reason, and that's why they are called scientific reasoning or scientific thinking. What are the functions of philosophy? We can list out the functions of philosophy in two levels. First of all, the critical evaluation of our beliefs. We have got so many beliefs, various kinds of beliefs, that God exists, that we have got eternal life, that if we live good life, we attain eternal life. Such kinds of beliefs are found in our life. So, philosophy helps you to have a critical evaluation about these beliefs. Secondly, the clarification of the concepts. Once again, we have got many types of concepts. For example, the concept of God, the concept of morality, the concept of mind, the concept of evil. All those concepts are very much found in our life. So that's why these concepts are clarified through the philosophical arguments. Clarifications are very much necessary in order to know the things in its reality, in its totality. So that's why the clarification of the concepts are also very important. So two functions are highlighted with regard to the philosophy. One is about the critical evaluation of our belief system and the clarification of the concepts which we use in our daily lives. So philosophy explores critically the foundations of human practices. For example, politics, religion, morality. These are various practices of human beings. So once again, this philosophy helps us to explore critically the foundations of all these human practices. The third question that we need to ask in the origins of philosophy is that how does the philosophy work in our day-to-day life? It can work in a different level. First of all, in our life, we can use philosophy by inventing our own argument. For example, you take the concept of the universe. What are the reasons for its origin? You can invent your own reasons. So that is the first step. Then you can also analyze and criticize the views which are already given by somebody else. There are so many theories which are put forward by various people with regard to the origin of the universe. So you can have critical analysis and evaluation of these theories. The function of philosophy either to invent your own argument or to evaluate critically about the solutions which are already given, or you can use both. So this is the function of philosophy. Philosophy involves clarifying the existing ideas or creating new imaginative ideas. Once again, the function of philosophy is to clarify the existing ideas. Maybe there are so many ideas which are very much prevalent in our day-to-day life, that hard work gives a best reward. One of the ideas. So clarifying this idea, how does this idea work in our day-to-day life? So that is one of the functions of philosophy. Secondly, you can create your own imaginative ideas, which is also very, very important. in order to know many more realities, new realities, we need to have new imaginative ideas, and philosophy will help you to have or to create these new imaginative ideas. So, this is the function of philosophy. In other words, we can say philosophy often debates and asks these questions. What is the ultimate reality? How do we know the reality? What constitutes good life? What is the meaning of life? So, these are the various questions. Based on these various questions, philosophy gave rise to the different branches of philosophy. So, answering one type of question also gives rise to the different types of branches of philosophy. That is why we have got metaphysics, we have got epistemology, we have got ethics, we have got logic, we have got aesthetics and many other branches. So, each branch will try to clarify one type of questions about the reality. That is why we have got different branches of philosophy. Once again, when we speak about the origins of philosophy, we must remember this particular idea which is given by Aristotle. He says, philosophy begins in wonder, or the origin of philosophy is the attitude of wonder. You wonder about the reality. You wonder before the outer reality, or you can wonder about a particular reality. So, that is how the philosophy begins. When we study about the Western philosophy and Indian philosophy, we have got two different ways of understanding this Western and Indian philosophy. When you wonder at a reality, when you wonder before the outer reality, it is called Western philosophy. When you wonder before the inner reality, that is Indian philosophy. In other words, Western philosophy will help you to know the things which are seen in the universe. Indian philosophy more of going inside of the person. You are trying to find the inner reality. So, that is why you see the inner realities, wonder at these realities, and we have got the various views about philosophy. So, the attitude of wonder is very important in the pursuit of philosophy. In fact, man wondered at these realities in the ancient times. For example, when it rained, when there was a drought, lightning, thunder. So, these are the things which really terrified human being. He got frightened about these realities. Then there are mysteries about human life called death, life. These are really made him to think, what is life after all? So, once again you are wondering before these realities. Once again, when you see the moon and the stars and the beautiful creatures in the universe, you are filled with awe. That is why you ask, who created all these things? So, once again you try to analyze these realities and try to find out answers for these questions. So, my dear friends, once again we need to remember, philosophy begins at wonder, or philosophy begins in the attitude of wonder. A person who is not able to have any kind of wonder before the reality cannot be a philosopher. So, being the philosophers, you must be able to see the reality in a different way. Then only you are able to analyze it and you are able to get the deeper meaning of the reality. Now, the thing that we need to remember, what is the subject matter of philosophy? As we know that philosophy is an rational attempt to have the overall view of the reality. the holistic understanding of the reality, which is very, very important. And we are trying to get this comprehensive idea about the reality through the rational inquiry. So, the subject matter of philosophy involves these realities: man, world or universe, and God. Remember these three realities: man, world and God. So, with these three realities, you involve everything. There is nothing which is left from these realities. When you take man, there are so many things we need to remember. When you take universe, definitely man is related to the universe or to the world or to the nature, and all the things which are found in the universe, somehow they are related to the human being, and we need to analyze those things. They become the part of the subject matter of philosophy. Then we have got the ultimate reality called God. Once again, we are related to God. Afterlife, immortality, soul, all those things come there. So once again, my dear friends, when you take these three realities, man, world and God, all the things are involved. So there is nothing outside the subject matter of philosophy. Everything becomes the subject matter of philosophy. The last topic in the origins of philosophy that we need to discuss about the view of the church with regard to the philosophy. The teachings of the church with regard to the philosophy. How does the church see the importance of philosophy? We have got two main documents. One is coming from the Second Vatican Council document, the decree on the training of priests, which is called Optatum Thosios, given in the year 1965 on 20th October. This document gives us the four important reasons why we have to study philosophy. The first reason which is given by this document is that the philosophy should be taught to all the students in order to lead them gradually to a solid and consistent knowledge of man, the world and God. So that is the first reason which is given by the document. In order to lead the students gradually to a solid and to a consistent knowledge of God, man and the world. That is the first reason. Secondly, the students should rely on that philosophical patrimony which is forever valid. Patrimony means heritage. The church or the Christianity has got its own heritage with regard to the philosophical studies, especially the philosophy of Saint Thomas Aquinas, philosophy of Augustine and philosophy of early fathers. This philosophy is very, very important. We cannot ignore that philosophy. That's why we need to understand and we need to base ourselves on those philosophical grounds which are very much necessary for understanding of the theology. So that's why we need to have or we need to base ourselves on this philosophical patrimony or heritage which is forever valid. Thirdly, the students should also take note of the modern philosophical studies which have greater influence on their own country. For example, in Indian, when we consider our own land, Gandhian philosophy, the Indian philosophical schools, for example, Charvaka, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Vedanta or philosophy of Veda. These are all very important to know the culture of India, know the lifestyle of India, know the traditions of India. So that's why the document also says that we should also study these modern philosophical studies which have greater influence our own country. And finally, the document says recent progress in the sciences. Every day there are new discoveries which are taking place in the scientific field. We have got so many things which either disturbs our philosophical studies or helps us to influence our understanding about a particular concept. So the philosophers should study and take note of the recent progress in the sciences. So these are the 4 reasons which are given by this particular document called Optatum Thosius, given in the year 1965, and we need to remember, which highlights the importance of studying of philosophy. Another document which is given by Saint Pope John Paul II, the name of the document is Fides et Ratio. It is an encyclical letter. Fides et Ratio means faith and reason. There are 2 concepts here. One side there is a faith, on the other side there is a reason, which we will study later, but just try to remember the name of this document, Fides et Ratio. In this particular document, Pope John Paul II says, the primary purpose of the studying of philosophy is quest for truth. You are trying to know the truth, to have this inner desire, to motivate oneself in the inquiry of the reality and knowing of the truth. So that is the primary purpose of studying of philosophy. This particular concept of truth involves innate human impulses. Innate means inborn. Impulses means a kind of inner force. So there is a inner force which is coming or which originates in the human being. So this particular impulse makes us to ask question, why things are there as they are. For example, there is a sun. Why sun is there as it is, or why there is a moon? There are so many other realities. So this particular concept or this particular impulse which is innate to the human beings will motivate to ask questions, why things are there as they are. This impulse also motivates us to find out the meaning of our own life. Once again, the meaning of our life is very, very important. We must know why we are living. So this innate impulse once again helps us to understand the meaning of our life. So that is the function of philosophy, or that is why that is the reason why we have to study philosophy. So these innate impulses makes us to go from partial and fragmentary truths to the universal and absolute truth. We may be having little knowledge about a particular reality. That is what is called partial knowledge about the reality, or fragmentary truths about a particular reality. But the study of philosophy will make us to have the holistic view of the reality, and we are able to move from this partial and fragmentary knowledge to the universal and absolute truth. So once again, my dear friends, this Fides et Ratio, the encyclical letter given by Pope John Paul II, tells us the primary purpose of studying philosophy is to deepen the quest for truth, or to know the truth which is innate to us, which is very dear to us, and which is the purpose of our life. So truths about this, truths about our own life, truths about this universe, truth about the concept of God, the ultimate reality. All these truths are involved in studying of the philosophy. So these are the things we must know when we discuss about the origins of philosophy.